welcome back to another Tuesday night of Gator Gospel. So tonight we are going to take some time to talk about communication. So I know that this is something many families struggle with. This is something many children struggle with. And this is definitely something our children who cannot use words struggle with. Now that doesn't mean that they can't communicate, but they're unable to say, I have to go to the bathroom, or I want to take a walk. So something of that nature. But a lot of our children that come in, even adults and teenagers, there's a huge lack in communication, and that is the main cause of many behaviors, such as crying or screaming and tantrums and maybe acting out because this child, this adult, cannot get what they want. They know what they want, but they can't explain it, they can't say it. So everybody needs words. We all need a form of communication. So what we will go through tonight is the most basic level of communication that you can provide your child or your client or your friend, anybody who may benefit from this, a voice. Remember, we are the voice of our children, of our little guys that can't necessarily explain themselves, express themselves. You will and always will be their voice, don't forget that. Is it long? Is it complicated? Sometimes yes. Is what we're going to do tonight complicated? Not at all. So, there are a couple things that I suggest you would get if you really want to make a difference in the way in which your child communicates with you. More so how you communicate with your child. I guarantee you, some parents, some teachers, some clinicians may not even realize the amount of progress that can be made with these super simple steps that we will be taking. So please share this. Please learn from this. Give me your feedback if you use it. I would love to know if it helped you at all. Is it going to provide immediate results? No. Does it have to be worked on? Yes. Created and inspired by your child's needs, individualized? Yes. So let's open our brains. Let's get arts and craftsy, and let's make some communication. Like I said, we're going to start basic, okay? So the communication that we use the most are consisting of picture icons. So we have tons of these little picture icons that we use for our children, or for our, I don't want to say clients, so I'll say our children. And children can be adults, can be teenagers. We use this with every walk of life, every age. We have after school care, gym time. So this one was for school specifically, elementary school, middle school, high school if needed, puzzle, morning meeting, toy, sit at table. It just goes on and on and on. So there's so many different places, so many different websites that you can get these little picture icons, and they're perfect for your child, again, child we're saying, to figure out what do they like, what do they need, what are things that you know this child will work for, will strive for. And once you find those items, write them down, and that's the first step. Write down all the preferred items that your child has, favorite foods, favorite toys, favorite TV shows, and it can even be simpler. It could just be the word toy and one toy. It could just be iPad and just the iPad. You don't have to be specific. Although we don't want to be too general, sometimes you don't want to be too specific. This varies upon the communication level of who you are working with or who you are living with. A lot of times we call them PECs, right? I'm sure you guys have heard of PECs. That is, I believe, Picture Exchange Communication System. That is a specific program that has different phases, and in those phases you work on many different things. Now, I am not PECS certified. It was not something that I've ever found was necessary because we're able to learn in other ways, and PECS specifically, disclaimer, is very expensive. Very expensive. So we go the alternate route that can yield the same exact results. Just for an example, again, I am not a PECS instructor. I don't have any type of PECS certification, but the Picture Exchange Communication System, or as we say, the icon-based picture communication system, can be done using different phases, as I'm saying. The first thing that we want our children to be able to do, if using these icons, we need them to be able to touch them, right? So although super basic, that is very important. The whole process of the communication is ultimately picking up that picture from something that may look like this, or this, or this. Now, they're never gonna look this crowded, and they're usually pretty small. I don't have any next to me. I usually do. Actually, let me get one. So they're usually about this size, and then on the front, it's easier if you hold them like that. We would get Velcro strips, okay? And you put the Velcro strip here, and you put the Velcro strip here, and that is an easy way to eventually put different pictures on here so that your child is able to pick from an array or a group of however many pictures you have on there. Now, like we're saying, like I said, first things first, let's make sure that our child can touch. We don't need them to pick it up. We don't need them to discriminate or know what they're choosing. We just need them to be able to touch this. That shows that this child is able to receptively do as you're asking them. If our children have problems with fine motor skills, it's difficult for them to pick up these little ones, make them bigger, okay? So we have kids that have big ones, we have kids that have little ones. There's absolutely no rhyme or reason to stick to a certain sized icon. That is my opinion. I'm not a speech therapist. I am just helping you guys on ways to make your child's life easier. All right? So we've got our step one. We've gone online. We found some clip art. Easy, easy. Type in what you need. Again, remember that list that we wrote about your child's favorite wants, needs, places, etc. Go online, type it in, maybe type clip art after it, get a picture of it, open up a Word doc, and then just start lining up these pictures next to each other. And eventually you'll get enough to print, all right? So once you print them, you want to put them in a laminating sheet. So this is what I mean by we're going to need a couple of materials. We have our laminator, our trusty laminator. You can get one, this is from Walmart. I do know that Amazon also sells one. I will just give you my personal opinion, and that one is difficult. It jams a lot. So there's Scotch brand, and then there's Walmart. This has been great so far. So we have our laminator, and then we have our laminating paper. And with our laminating paper, we are going to put that sheet of pictures that you printed out from Word. You're gonna open that up, you're gonna put it inside, you're gonna shut it, and then you're gonna feed it through the laminator. Once this comes out of the laminator, you now have a very durable picture that if it gets wet, it's okay. If it gets mouthed, it's okay. If it gets dirty, that's fine, because it's laminated. Don't take the easy way out, please. Don't try and just use paper, don't use cardstock. It isn't going to work. It will not sustain, and this is something that must be consistent. We're teaching this, and we have to do it consistently. So once we printed everything out, and we cut them up, okay? I like to start with something that's kind of big all right, like a big sheet, and placing our Velcro strips along that sheet, okay? And then placing the Velcro strips on the back of our pictures. So once our child has demonstrated that they can touch this icon, and they can touch the icon, I would then see if this child can pick up the icon. All right? It's a little bit different. It's not just touching. We're going to want them to pick it up. Once we're getting that done, we want to pick it up and we want to walk it over to whoever is asking us what we would like. So it's the same as a conversation. If someone says, "Where are you going tonight for dinner?" and I tell them I'm going to Red Lobster, that's a conversation. That's a back and forth conversation. We are speaking reciprocally. We are reciprocating each other's words and conversations because we are socially communicating. We can't do this in this situation unless our child is able to hand us the item that they want. And us asking them, if we do need to ask them, "What do you want?" and then giving it to us, that is conversation, okay? And the more exchanges we give and we get, the more exchanges it would mean as to communication and conversation. So our child is picking them up, he's walking over, he's handing it to you. You better be ready with exactly what this guy asked for, okay? So if I have this available for my child to pick up and request, they are expecting it. And since we're working on this and it's being taught, it is crucial that you have this available. So right now we're assuming that this child already knows what the telephone is, the cell phone. So old. The cell phone, okay? And when they pick up that cell phone and they hand it to you, you immediately need to take out your cell phone and hand it to the child. They asked for it, they got it, great exchange. As you are able to pair these pictures to the items that the child likes, you can just put more and more pictures on the same board, and that child will be able to discriminate or tell the difference between all the different pictures. And now this child has a full-on communication board to be able to speak to you and anybody else that they need things from or want things from. These types of things need to be with our children all the time. What I say is, would you leave your voice at home and just go out and not talk to anybody, although you want to? You want to be social, you want to talk because you want your needs met. You're thirsty. You have to go to the bathroom and no one understands that. You're going to be uncomfortable and cranky. So don't leave any child's voice behind, whether it be an AAC device, whether it be a choice board, whether it be a PECS book. It doesn't matter. There's no right way to introduce communication. There's no wrong way to introduce communication. That's my opinion, and that's from my experience, including my own little guys. That's what has worked for us. So now we have this whole entire page of things that our little guy wants. We even put pictures of people on there. Again, anything that's relevant. And once we pair the items to the PEC, or excuse me, the icon-based picture, we're off to the races, okay? So then you are getting a child who can communicate, and chances are you may see a lot less behaviors. When I say behaviors, that can range from, destruction, aggression, headbanging, things of that nature, because it's so frustrating. If you're at home, right? All my ladies and gentlemen with a significant other, spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, where do our biggest problems come from? I think communication. That's an opinion, but I'm sure there's many married couples out there or couples together that have such a hard time communicating with one another that it just creates behaviors within yourself. Okay, whether that behavior is acting out or wanting attention, or just, maybe you're not necessarily behavior, but maybe you feel angry, you feel frustrated, and maybe it turns into an argument. And at that point, the lack of communication is what's causing all of that. So if that affects us on a daily basis, imagine being a child with a disability and not having access to it because of this simple oversight that we need spoken, verbal, expressive language to be able to communicate. No, no, and no. Don't count this out. Make sure you at least try these things, okay? There's Boardmaker. That is a website where you can download all of these packs. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and you can make them all the same size, and there's grids to easily input them. So if you're interested, I would try boardmaker.com. I don't know if it is free. I'm sure there's a trial for you to try out. All of the little dudes on Boardmaker look like Caillou. So if you are traumatized from Caillou, like many of us are, that bratty little boy, don't use Boardmaker. Alright. I'm curious to know how many of you have had experience with trying to create some type of communication between yourself and a child, yourself and your sister, yourself and an individual or a client that you that you worked hard with to instill that communication. How did that go? What did you do? And there's so many things that we can do. Again, this is a choice board. So in the world of, I don't even want to say ADA because it has such a negative connotation these days. It should not. But anyway, Grandma's Law. I don't know if anyone has ever heard that. I've definitely mentioned it before. We say Grandma's Law. What is Grandma's Law? Well, let's think of Grandma. It's first you can have this and then you can have this, right? So first we need you to eat your dinner and then you can have your ice cream. Very basic, very basic. First I need you to clean your room, then you're allowed to go outside. So this is first and then as well. And because it's so common, and this also may not go back to communication by means of speaking and reciprocating back and forth exchanges, but this is communication to prevent anything that may occur from a child or an adult or a teenager that does not want to do what they're told. Now, do we demand compliance? No. We know that our children are individuals and we would never press them to do things that they don't want to do. However, in certain settings like school, we have to follow direction, okay? So the first then board is so easy. I'm gonna show you that. Give me 1 second. Okay, so first then, remember, always first is the non-preferred. Don't like it, don't want to do it, not looking forward to it. That is first. Then is the rest, what you want, highly preferred, okay? First, I go to work, then I get my paycheck. All right, I don't want to go to work. Well, I mean, I actually do. I love my job. But for some, they don't want to go to work, but they're not going to get their paycheck then. That comes after. Very, very simple, okay? This is so helpful for kids that drag their feet in the morning and don't want to get ready for school. They don't want to get up. They don't want to do work. They don't, just any non-preferred activity that you can think of that really, really makes your day harder, makes your child's day harder, causes many frustrations or tantrums or anything that just ruins the day for the moment, not the day, but ruins the moment. And it's very difficult to understand what's going on, but at the end of the day, like we're saying, it's communication. So this one, for example, is first clean up, then art. So if we're cleaning up first, I'm assuming it is highly non-preferred. They don't want to clean up. They're a huge fan of toys, and it's already known that when I say it's time to clean up, there's going to be a problem. Someone's going to scream and stomp their feet and throw the toys. This has occurred many, many times. We have observed this. We know this. Preventatively, keyword, preventatively. You want to let that child know first you're cleaning up and then you get art. So this kid loves art. He loves to paint maybe, he loves to color, he loves to draw. It doesn't matter. All we want this child to do is get so distracted pretty much by what we're asking them to an extent, because they are looking for the after effect. So first and then. Very simple. Pairing one of these with one of these, I mean, in my opinion, is nothing but beneficial. There's nothing detrimental about it. I have had many a family think that if they teach these things, if they use these means of communication, then that will delay speech. Speech meaning speaking, using words verbally. Again, I'm not a speech therapist. I am just saying from my experience and the children, adults, teens that I've worked with, children, my own, that I've worked with, I have never noticed speech being delayed by using these means of communicating. I feel that sometimes people may think that's the case because instead of encouraging language using your voice, you're encouraging language using picking up. But that is language. That's receptive language as well. That's being able to identify what you're looking at and being able to identify maybe what you're being asked of. So once we see that this child is able to use words or speak verbally, you can pair the words with the icon-based picture. So they're able to speak, and I'm gonna just say speak from now on. So you grab the cookie, they get the cookie, and then you tell them cookie and have them repeat it back to you as much as they can, and just work on that. Continue to work on that. Now, that to me is encouraging vocal speech. That to me is nothing but helpful. Others may think opposite. However, I can't see how you don't agree. So that is really it when it comes to these very basic forms of communication. And when I say basic, I don't mean easy, okay? I just mean it is not the intricate iPad with the talking system like Proloquo to Go or whatever it's called. It's an easy way to use your money and your time and create these things. I'm gonna tell you right now, you can get this, let's see, the laminator, let's say 25. The laminating sheets you're not gonna waste, they're not super cheap. So say this pack was 25, that's 50 at most. Velcro, say 10, 60, and then you'll wanna get, that's really it. If you wanna buy a binder, maybe 75 tops. So you're gonna get everything started and your child potentially communicating with you for under $100. That is worth it. In my opinion, that is worth it. So that's my spiel on communication, and hopefully it was helpful to some of you. It's a topic that I've seen, or not a topic, it's something that I've seen change the entire course of a child's experience somewhere. It is something that without, it's difficult for our kids to feel safe, to feel comfortable, to feel respected, to not have any of your desires honored. and overlooked and ignored that's kind of heartbreaking. I don't know what I would do if I wasn't heard. I'm pretty vocal. I like to stand for what I'm incredibly passionate about, and I think most of you would know this if you do follow the Gators or Piece of Our Puzzle or anything like that. But if that was taken away from me and could have been something that I was able to access, that would be really, really sad. That would be sad. So there's a lot of kids out there, adults or teens, that are wanting to do and say so much, but they can't. So remember, we are the voices of these little ones, big ones, in-betweeners, old ones. We are the voice. If someone else isn't doing it and you can, you do it. It's not hard, and it takes perseverance for sure and consistency for sure, but if you're watching this, there's a reason, and you're already going one step further than you should because you're learning, and that's all that I want to do is hopefully teach people different things. I enjoy teaching, so if anyone is interested in me teaching any different topics or showing you how to make certain things like reward systems and helping you understand your autistic child, things like that, creating schedules, all that fun stuff, let me know. Comment, let me know if that's something you're interested in, and hopefully I hear from you guys, get some feedback. Like I said, I welcome that. I want to give a quick reminder that we are doing something called Jillian's Jewels. That is every Mother's Day. We give away a piece of jewelry, typically from Kay's Jeweler, and that goes to the Mother of the Year. Jillian's Jewels was created because of our friend Jillian, who was a great supporter of the Gators, a great mom, a great grandmother, and you know, we miss her very much. So we wanted to do something in honor of her. She loved gems and jewels, so that is why we give away a beautiful necklace from Kay's to the Mom of the Year. How do I get that? Easy. Send in your nominations to Erin@goofygators.com. Send a nomination. It doesn't have to be long, maybe a few paragraphs on why you think this mother deserves the prize, okay? And the more we nominate a mother, the more chances she has. So don't forget that. I love being able to give these things to our moms. You guys deserve it. And then on Father's Day, we do something very similar. This Saturday is a free haircut event at Piece of Our Puzzle in Levittown. We have awesome cuts coming, totally free event. Get the kids some haircuts. I know it's difficult. Awesome Cuts knows it's difficult to have our kids sit down and get that haircut. So let us try. There'll be refreshments and prizes and just a couple hours of fun. We can mingle or whatnot. So I hope to see you there. That's this Saturday. Any other questions, or if you want to see what other events we're having, contests we're having, just keep up with our Facebook page, and I hope to see you next week.